Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Combat Fuel podcast. We are today joined, and we use the word around legend a lot, but this guy is an actual living legend. He had the first very unenviable title of the first triple amputee from the Afghanistan conflict, former Royal Marine Commando, Mark Ormrod. Welcome, Mark, and thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice for the country. It's a pleasure to have you on here.
Great to be here, mate. Thank you for inviting me up to the Combat Fuel headquarters.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I think today what we'll do, we're just going to dissect your life, have a look at where we've been, what's happened. So growing up as a kid, tell us a little bit about your life, where you were, how was home life? Fill us in. Tell us about you.
So I grew up in a lovely little city in the southwest called Plymouth, spelled with two Fs. Plymouth, to a regular working class family. I've got a twin sister, and we were born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. Very lucky growing up. Never needed anything, never wanted anything. You know, everything was there. I didn't have any
happy relationship, mum and dad, both parents.
Yep, never had any adversity growing up. I was very well taken care of, very well looked after. Very average at everything. Not particularly good at anything. I didn't stand out in any areas. But I had a great time. You know, like I said, born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, before smartphones, before the internet, when you could go out and, you know, you came home when the street lights came on.
Wasn't it? You know, going down the park with a football, come back before the street lights get on, running home, sprinting to make sure mum and dad are happy and we're not going to be grounded.
Exactly. Coming home like itchy from the grass and mud that you've been rolling around in all day, having a shower and then getting ready for school, you know, just good times, good memories. Very, very lucky and fortunate. Not particularly sporty as a kid.
Was there anything that you did at school where you were like, this is going to be my thing, or was it just sort of, was school more of a attendance thing for you? You know, rock up, do the stuff you got to do your learning, do your homework. Sort of, would it be fair to say coasting through life at that point, very young age?
I wouldn't say coasting. I would say I was struggling to coast because I'm not academic and school didn't come that easily to me. But I played football, was crap. I played rugby, and I was crap. I didn't even know the rules. I played rugby for an entire year at school and I couldn't tell you one single rule now.
Get ball, run.
That's pretty much what they said. Get the ball, run. Yeah. They said you can't punch people in the face, but you can palm them in the face. And the position I played was a flanker. At least that's what I thought the PE teacher called me. He might have said something different.
I think that might have begun with a W.
Yeah, and I had no clue what I was doing. And I had no passion for any of those sports either. But kind of around the age of 13, maybe 14, I had put on a bit of weight from, I guess, not excelling at sport and spending more time indoors than outdoors. I got a Sega Mega Drive in the household. Yeah. You know, playing Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, and Streets of Rage.
Nice.
Golden
Eye?
No, it was Nintendo. I was Sega. I was Team Sega, mate. Team Sega.
Scene.
And I was in school one day, and this guy, it was like the mid-morning break we had, like stand easy, if you like. And I had a routine where I would tuck into this pink sliced bun, full of cream. And I never thought anything of it. You know, it was just, that was my morning routine when I was at school. And then one day this guy walked past who was apparently a friend of mine. And he kind of looked into the, you know, when you do buttons up on a shirt and you can see through the side of it. And he looked through my shirt and just looked at me and said, "Your body's disgusting." And I'm like, what? This
was a time though when it was okay to tell the truth and not be offended by absolutely everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm pretty chilled out, mate.
Yeah.
And most things don't bother me, but I kind of took that to heart.
Yeah. And how old were you at this time?
I think I was 13.
13. So what, year 9?
9, I think, at school. It might have been younger than that, actually, looking back. But anyway, I threw this bun in the bin. The break is only about 25 minutes in the mid-morning one. And I went off to the gym at school. And it was tiny, mate. It was like a broom closet. And I think it had a treadmill in it, a pec deck, a lat pull down, and then a row of free weights, and that was it. And just a bunch of mirrors.
Yeah.
And I walked in there and I locked the door. There was no one in there. No one ever trained in there. And I took my shirt off and I looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what? It was kind of harsh what he said, but it was fair. And I had gone from being like quite a slim, lean, athletic kid out all the time to like this pudgy, puppy dog, fat, flabby kid. And I didn't like it. So all I did in that moment, I kind of put my shirt half on, half off, picked up some free weights. I had no clue what I was doing. I just thought, all you do when you're lifting weights is like bicep curl, right? So I just bicep curl a couple of reps.
Fuck the rest.
Exactly. The alarm went off to say back to lessons. Buttoned my shirt up, legged it, went back to my class, and I had a little bit of a pump. I was like, oh, I kind of like that. And then I went back the next day and locked the door again, took some actual kit this time, and I had lunchtime. I had an entire hour to play around. And I didn't know what I was doing. Like, there was no internet. This is like, must have been 93, 94, maybe. But just started lifting weights, trying to figure out how to change.
Yeah.
You know, what I had.
Can we reverse back to say that teacher was a role model or a wake-up call? How do you define him to? Because it sounds like that may have been like a bit of a pivotal moment for yourself where you were like, I need to do something with my carcass because I'm not in the body that I want to be in.
Yeah, it was definitely a wake-up call.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, when you're like 12, 13, 14, back when we grew up, I don't think we were really body conscious, if you like.
No.
I didn't, there was no social media, right? So no one could like give you shit, and the only people you had to compare yourself to were like Arnie and Stallone from those movies. So it just kind of crept up on me, I think. I didn't really realize. So him telling me that was a wake up call. And then I just decided to do something about it. I didn't know what to do about it. I was too embarrassed to go to like the PE teachers or anything like that. Like I said, we didn't have the internet. And what I ended up doing was taking a portion of my dinner money every day and saving it up. And then at the end of the month, getting like a bodybuilding magazine and just reading them from cover to cover, like numerous times. And just trying to figure out what a latissimus dorsi was or a quadricep was, and taking these big fancy words and matching them up with the pictures and going, okay, that's what that means.
Nice.
And then trying to train that. And it was kind of cool because bit by bit over the weeks and the months, some of the other lads, they're like, where the hell's Mark? Why is he not out just pissing around at lunchtime? And I ended up telling them, and then they'd tag along as well. And it was great because none of us knew what we were doing. And we were all trying to like coach each other. And we just kind of created this little group of lads that would go in, lock the doors at lunchtime and just lift weights and just try and figure it out.
Nice. So, but through this teacher giving you this wake-up call, you inherently then became a role model already for your peers, for the guys you're at school with, because they've then followed you to, where's Mark? I mean, they could have, you know, dare I say it nowadays, oh, what's he doing? Why is he bettering himself? And but then there they are now, like following you, coming to the gym at 13 years old on your school break. And I mean, it was very much spit and sawdust style gyms. You know, when I was at school, again, the gym was like, that's like a big, scary place. Like that school kids didn't go there.
Right.
You know, it was the PE teachers thing that they got to go and do. And people were often very scared. So I think that's fair play that you got there. So bodybuilding, could we call it that? Or just general fitness? That started like shaping your life a little bit. And obviously being in Plymouth, a very big military town, was it already a call to serve, a call to action to thinking, I want to do something military? Or what was your goals upon leaving school?
It's funny. It was nothing to do with like where I lived. Like when I started getting into training and weightlifting, obviously being an 80s baby and being a fan of Stallone and Arnie, you saw these guys with muscles that were action heroes, and a lot of the roles they played were Rambo, Commando, all these military action heroes. And outside of school, well, inside school and outside of school, but where I grew up, all my friends were older than I was. So when I got to about 15, they had already left school and gone to either university or into the real world. And a couple of the guys had left and joined the military. Some the Army, some the Navy, some the Air Force. And I remember like I'm kind of feeling comfortable now in this world of lifting weights and getting fit and thinking about the next step. And I'd probably been told by teachers and people before, you got to start thinking about a career, but you don't listen, do you?
No.
And I looked at my friends and they were out doing all this cool stuff, and they were coming home on leave and talking about these 4 or 5 mile runs and playing with machine guns and driving tanks. And I was like, maybe with this new love of fitness I found, that I could do that, because it sounds kind of cool. And I watch these movies and maybe I'll get to live like that.
The university route was not even a consideration then for you.
No, I mean, eventually when I did my exams, I did all right. You could do 10 GCSEs at school and I did them. I got all 10, 9 of them were A to C's, and I got a D.
Nice.
In geography. So I could have went to college, university, but it was just hard work, mate. Like studying. And maybe it was because the subjects that you do at GCSE level aren't always the ones that you're interested in. And at uni, you could pick a subject what you're passionate about. I don't know. But it was just like, I can't really be in this environment anymore. I want to be out doing something. I want to be earning money.
Yes.
And advancing as a person. And I know you can do that at university, but that just didn't feel like the natural route for me. So I looked at these guys and thought, you know what? I'm going to be a soldier. I want to join the army. I'm going to be a soldier. I'm going to be like these action movie stars. And I'm going to tell my own stories about these fitness tests and these machine guns and driving these tanks. So my friend in the army took me to the career center and got the paperwork that I needed to join. I was only 15 and a half. So I had to get my parents' permission. So I took it home, told them what I wanted to do, showed them the paperwork. And then my dad told me that I had an uncle who was a retired Royal Marine. Now, he lived like 25 minutes from our house. He had served for 22 years, so he did a full career. I didn't know that much about him at that young age, but he had joined as a Marine, so as a private, and left as a captain.
So we late entry.
So we organised a trip to go see him, and he talked to me about his life and his career and the things he'd done, seen and experienced. He told me a little bit about the Royal Marines, because bizarrely, even though I lived in Plymouth, even though Royal Marines headquarters are there, even though 4-2 Command was there, I didn't know who these people were. I just thought if you want to be a soldier, you join the army, which is what I did, what I attempted to do. And then he told me about the Royal Marines. So this was like 1999, and dial-up internet came in, and I had this big boxy computer in my house where it used to screech every time you logged online.
And you can't use the phone at the same time if you're trying to get on the internet. So
I did some research on the Royal Marines to find out a bit more about them. Went back to the career center, spoke to the Royal Marine recruiter. And when he put the recruiting video in, I remember just watching this thing like, holy shit. Like, who are these people? And this was back when they made really cool recruiting videos.
When recruitment was recruitment and not woke, and we won't go down that avenue, but
it made you want to join. Like blokes assaulting beaches and raiding crafts, fast roping at helicopters, skiing in Norway, patrolling through the jungle, covered in cam cream. I'm like, damn, these like the guys in the video.
And that video is what made you ultimately think, alongside your uncle, being like, actually, the Royal Marines route is going to be me over, say, the army.
Yes, absolutely. So I got the paperwork from him, took it home, got it signed, sent it off, went back to school, did the GCSEs like I explained, and then just waited. I just thought I'll wait until, because there was email, but no one was using it in like 99, were they? And so it was all snail mail. So I sent it all off. It took a lot longer than it would nowadays. Finished school and then just waited for the letter.
This is 2000, 2001?
Just creeping into 2000. I remember I had a friend actually who had finished training, and at midnight on the Millennium, he was up in Scotland at I think 4-5 Commando on the gate while I was out partying, just waiting for this letter to turn up to start recruit training, or to see if they had the 3-day potential Royal Marine course, to see if I could pass that and then start recruit training.
Awesome. And what date did you walk through those gates at Livingston to start training?
The 21st of February, 2001.
Awesome. So obviously 2001 was a big year for yourself, but not just yourself, for the world. Evidently what happened in September, the most atrocious terror attack in our living history. And I think now we see guys joining that haven't heard of that. So we'll get into that in a bit, but going through training, you've turned up. How was it? How was your first experience of like, I've done this. I'm about to go through Royal Marines training. What were your initial thoughts of like the road ahead? What's it going to be like? How was it?
It was shit.
Was it raining?
I hated it. No, I mean, like I was 17.
Yeah.
And the first 2 weeks, you're just thrown in this giant room with like 60 plus other people.
Yeah.
I was the second youngest there. And I only lived like 45 minutes away from where we go through training, but I felt like I was on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And it was scary and intimidating and overwhelming. And every time I looked around, everyone seemed to know what they were doing except for me. I didn't have a clue. I couldn't take in the information at the pace it was being thrown at me.
Yeah.
I would get into bed at night exhausted and just be like, no, I want to go home. I just want to get on that train and go back to my bed in my house where life's a bit more normal than this. And just managed to grizz it through each day in that first 2 week period and just bumble my way through barely. So you get out of that foundation period and then go into 6-man rooms and then start doing more.
So obviously at that time, again, not that phones were allowed in training anyway, but no phones, no outside contact. That's two solid weeks of just, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I suppose for a young guy that's come out from being, dare say, a bit shy, a little bit, it can be absolutely overwhelming.
And just pampered, mate, like with your family, your parents running around doing everything for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of a sudden you're getting screamed at, shouted at. And like I said, everyone's older. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. And I'm just looking around pretending I know what I'm doing.
What I think is brilliant about that though is it makes you evolve as a person. You develop into yourself. You know, you can sit there and that's me. See you later. But you didn't. You know, and a lot of guys do, don't they? Try service, they get into basic training and like, wow, this is intense. This is not what I expected it to be. I just thought I'd be doing the cool stuff in the videos. Like I didn't realize we had to learn and endure what we have to get there. So we've got to that first part. Is it like a little mini pass out parade that you have like at that time where your family get to come and see you?
No, I think that's probably about week 10, maybe. It's much later on. You have a family day.
I think we were week 5 in the army that family get to come down to see where you are. Still kind of out of our crap hats.
Yeah. No, they do. I can't remember which week it was, but yeah, they come along, see a little bit about what you do.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And it's a milestone, you know, because you have to break this extremely long period of training down into like chunks, right?
Yes.
So that was one of the milestones for me. And by that time, you know, you're out of that initial foundation phase into more of the military style stuff.
Yeah. Had you thought at that point, like, this is still for me, or is it crossing your mind, actually, I think I'm gonna
every day I just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
It was just shit. Like, I just struggled with everything. Same as school, just average at everything. But the difference in military training was, I think a lot of the guys, they recognized it. And because I was young, they took me under their wing.
Yes.
And then they helped me and mentored me and got me through it.
Nice.
And I started to discover what cheerfulness in the face of adversity meant. Yeah. Like if you could just take this shit.
And that's true leadership as well. Rather than having a boss, that's people, men that are leading men, you know. The guys there that they could have just, whatever, just fucking cunt. But they didn't. They took you under their wing and they helped you out. And I think that's an important part of how the military breeds their leaders. Right. You know, and that's absolutely phenomenal that they did that rather than, you know, having disregard for the guy that's there. They're putting the effort into the guys that may have needed it more than others to help bring everyone up to that same standard that's required.
Yeah, because everyone's got the potential, right?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
You know, you only go as fast as the slowest man.
Yeah.
And people just need coaching and mentoring and training, you know, to get there. And if you've got the patience to do that, then you can develop great, I was going to say a great product. I guess you are a product really as a soldier. But
you are, absolutely.
You need great leaders to develop great products because some are impatient. Some will just get rid of you because they haven't got the time. Yeah. But luckily that wasn't the case for me. You know, I had people that would develop me and coach me and mentor me.
Awesome. So we're going through training. Did anything else happen as like a standout moment? It was like either I'm going, any injuries or anything? Were you back squatted at all?
I never got back squatted, never got injured, never failed anything, which
it's quite rare as well, isn't it? For a Royal Marine to pass out as an original.
Yeah, there were 64 of us started and I think 16 of us managed that.
Wow.
But I think, you know, being so young, you're quite lucky in that you're durable, you don't get injured.
Yeah.
Even if you do, you can bounce back quickly. Like I said, I scraped through everything. But that's all you need to do, right? I hit the mark, scraped through everything, didn't excel at anything, but managed to get through in one hit, which was great.
You said there that like you scraped through. However, scraping through, like from those that started to 16, I don't think that's scraping through. That's the top percent of the guys that have started, and be it through non-fault of their own, either they've discharged themselves, it wasn't for them, or they've been injured, illness, anything like that. But to pass out 16 of you, I think that's a top percentile, and you're not giving yourself a whole heap of credit there. To pass Royal Marines training, it's not easy. It's not a attendance course by any means, is it? You know,
no.
The end of it, for those that don't know, is a 30-mile tab or yomp, you guys call it. And that's you're then awarded your green lid, isn't it? Your Royal Marines Commando Beret.
Yeah, that's pretty gruesome. Like 30 miles is, and it's not on a metal road, it's across Dartmoor. So you're on undulating terrain.
Yeah.
You're constantly rolling your ankles. You're going from sprinting to walking, and you've got weight with you. And, you know, you've got things like staying in step.
Yeah.
Just make it so much harder. Because I used to be 6'2".
Yeah.
So when you do all these things, I used to get thrown at the back. And if the guy at the front comes out of step, it just concertinas all the way to, and by the time it gets to you, you're like,
you're having double the effort just to keep up with the pack,
just to keep up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was brutal. And I wasn't particularly fit, fast, or strong either. I just had the ability to laugh internally and go, this is shit, but I just don't want to, I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm never going to stop.
Yeah.
Like I will crawl over the finish line, roll over it, drag myself by my teeth if I have to. I'm just not, because I never want to do anything twice. It was so gopping the first time. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to.
Why have a plan B though?
Yeah.
Why have you shouldn't need a plan B. You should have a plan A, and that is your plan. And you do everything you can. You know, if it doesn't work, we'll address that when you come to it. Yeah. But it's, I think 30 miles, you know, if I was in the military like us, it's a Royal Marine 30 miler. It doesn't mean a lot. Like Army side, well, ours was an 8 miler. I don't think people quite comprehend how far 30 miles actually is. My commute to work to here takes me about 45 minutes and it's 25 miles. It's not an easy feat, is it? On your legs with kit. It's did anybody drop out on that 30 miler, or did everyone start and finish?
No, of course, people dropped out for sure. But again, you know, if you've got that ability, I think, just to go inside your head and just block out all the noise and the crap. And, you know, this might sound a bit sadistic, but, you know, not just do the physical stuff, but at any point in training, when it got rough and people started dropping out, inside I used to smile. And it was like I stole a bit of their soul as they quit. Yeah, because I'd be stood there as well.
I'm still going. Yeah,
I'd stood there like, I'm done. I'm going to quit. Yeah. And then I'll just wait. And I think if someone puts their hand up and quit, then I won't quit. And I would just have a chat with myself. And, and then someone would eventually put the hand up, and I'm like, right, I've got to stay now. Yeah. And then that's really stupid like technique got me through.
That, but yeah, do you know what? I think we're all very similar. I mean, I remember it being like absolutely piss wrapped. We were up in Gairloch Head, Scotland, doing one of our final X's, and I'm thinking we were trying to like dig in, harbour up, and we were like getting washed down the hill. They then shut the roads. The rain was that bad. I mean, it was awful, and like guys rapping in. I mean, it was so bad that in the end and this is a time when like exercise wasn't just binned off because it was a little bit cold. You know, blokes had to endure it, and it was. I mean, they pulled the exercise. It was that bad. I mean, you couldn't bash up or do anything. It was proper stormy. So and I remember the same mindset of, you know, someone's going to go, and when he goes, I ain't going. Yeah. He's still here. Yeah. And having that internal battle to, if he can do it, I can do it.
Do you remember that movie Highlander?
Yes.
You remember every time they cut someone's head off, they went through that lightning process, the quickening, and they stole their strength. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. Every time someone left, absolutely. I was like Connor McLeod stealing their strength and carrying on.
Brilliant. So we're now at the end of your Royal Marines training. Yes. You know, it's not a quick walk in the park. You've come into the parade square. You've finished that 30 miler. Who was there for you?
At the end of the 30 miler?
Yeah, when you got your green lid.
So all the training team, commanding officer, some VIPs. And it's great because you're absolutely like exhausted. But at the same time, you're so relieved that it's over and elated that you've done it. Like you've got no energy, but you're still standing. It's bizarre. And then they hand you this like piece of cloth this Green Beret, and it's not the physical thing.
It's the journey. It's that point is to say and it's the journey that you've been on to get to that position, isn't it? Is what I think a lot find quite emotional, isn't it?
But it's just like no one can ever take that off you.
No. And
everyone who knows anything about the Royal Marines knows what you've had to do to achieve that. And that's what I remember thinking. It's like, I've done this now. And I remember the conversation I had with my uncle, the guys in the recruiting video. And I'm like, I'm one of them now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm one of these men
that
I've got, I don't know what maths is, over 350 years of history now.
Yeah.
But I'm part of that, and no one can ever take that from me. No. And that was enough for me in life. I'm like, I'm done. Like, this is the biggest achievement I'll ever get, and I'm happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah. So Royal Marines lid earned, pass off parade must come next then.
Yeah.
How long did you have to wait until you had your official pass off?
I think it was like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You do a bunch of drill, which is pretty gross because your feet are covered in blisters and sores, and then you got to put them stupid drill boots on and then march around. But at the same time, your ego takes this massive boost because you're walking around camp as a senior troop and everyone knows that you've done it.
That you've done it. You've
and everyone's looking
out.
up to you. And so all you're doing really is marching and eating burgers and just chilling, just waiting for that day. And that day comes around and it's pretty phenomenal. Having all your friends there and your family there, and all them people that you've been through all that stuff with to get where you're at. And then, I think the piece of music we had was from the Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
I got it on my phone, and it gives you chills. And that's forever attached to that memory now of like marching in front of all those people, and they know what you've been through.
Nice. Mum and dad, twin sister, everyone there to support you?
Yeah. Everyone was there. Uncle.
Awesome. Which was a highlight more, if you had to pick? Being given your green lid, passing off.
For me, I think it was getting given my green lid.
Nice.
I'm not, it sounds bizarre, and people that know me now think that I'm just talking shit, but I'm not very like a public person. I prefer private, more intimate things. So when you're in that car park and the state that you're in and the pain that you're in, just to have that little intimate ceremony, you stood in 3 ranks and they give you it, like that was huge to me. The whole fanfare is nice, but it's just not me.
Nice.
I prefer the more intimate stuff.
Absolutely. And on that then, let's just pick one point from you for your Royal Marines training. What was one defining moment you had and a lesson that you took away from that?
So, like I said earlier, I wasn't the fittest, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, probably the most average bloke that you'll ever meet. And on some of these runs that we used to do, I would always be in the back 10% with snot coming out my nose. I'd be crying, and I'm the one who loses his temper really quickly when he's tired. And we were on one run, and one of the training team, this is like the power of someone coaching you rather than just bawling at you and screaming.
Yeah.
And I was in a particularly bad state this day. And he said to me, and he knew where my head was at. He said, when that little voice in your head is saying, I'm done, I'm quitting, I'm in too much pain, you're only actually 40% of the way physically to being done.
Yeah.
And first of all, I thought, bullshit, you're lying. And then I carried on anyway, because I had that ability just to plod. And then I felt like the second wind come.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about what he was saying. There's lots of conversations in my mind. I'm like, damn, this dude's right.
Yeah.
And then every time I felt that way from then on, I remember what he said. And it was like a superpower. Like, I'm like, no one else knows this.
Yeah.
This is my secret weapon now.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone's tired, I'm not telling anybody the secret. Like, I know that when my voice in my head is saying quit, that I've still got like 60% left. And that carried me through.
Yeah.
Well, it's carried me up to now.
Yeah.
Like, I still think about it now.
That's brilliant. Training's done. Where did you go? Which unit were you put at?
So initially, I stayed at CTC, the Commando Training Center, because the MPGS weren't a thing then. So you have to stand on the gate and do that routine. Then I went to Poole and did a similar thing at Poole for a couple of months. Then I was sent to Royal Marines headquarters in Plymouth, which was great because I was back in my home city. But now as an 18-year-old Royal Marines commando, everyone knew me there. My friends, family, people.
And it was, so you were part of a commando troop then?
So Royal Marines headquarters is different to like a fighting unit. So I got attached to MT. which was garbage.
Yeah.
I tried very hard to get out of it. I tried to go back to pool.
Yeah.
I tried to go to, I think, ML training. I eventually got to get attached to air defense troop.
Yeah.
The problem was back then, this is 2001 to 2002, nothing was on computers.
Yeah.
It was all paper. So you had to write out a shit, give it to your chain of command.
We've got to a point there in time. So September 2001 and the attack on the Twin Towers. That's what we wanted to get to. So you're floating about between Plymouth HQ and Poole.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a part of you that had seen that? Did that insert anything into you where you're like, the inner patriot within me is like, I want to be a Royal Marines Commando fighting unit? Because obviously you can be specialised enough to be a chef, be anything else. Was that a part of you that's like, I want to go and do that, and I want to fight for our beliefs, and obviously the fallout and the declaration of war on terror that superseded that attack?
Yeah, I mean, everyone who joins the Royal Marines, I think, wants to do that.
Yeah.
In 2002, shortly after passing out of training, I was sent on pre-deployment training to go to Afghanistan on Opticana.
Yep.
Didn't do that. That's when I went to Stonehouse. And what I ended up doing was ferrying people from Plymouth to South Sarnie, Plymouth to Bryce Norton, dropping them off, picking them up.
Yeah.
And then driving that 4-hour drive, listening to them talking about what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And it was so shit.
Thinking you've gone through this, like some of the hardest training in the world.
I'm like a glorified taxi driver.
You're taxi driving these guys.
And obviously, because you're so young as well, and these are like sergeants, colours, you just keep your mouth shut and you just drive them. And I'm listening to them, and I'm like, I didn't understand how anything worked. And I'm like, why am I sat here driving these people backwards and forwards? Why am I not? I've been trained to do it.
Yeah. Why am I not being able to go out and do it? Yeah, absolutely.
And it just didn't happen. But then 2003 rolled around, and then Iraq became the focus. And I went through another pre-deployment training cycle, and then ended up deploying on TELIC 1 in, I think it was March 2003. So I got to go out and experience a little bit of it, which was nice. It was good. And
how was that tour for you? Was it very much a war fighting tour? For those that don't understand, TELIC is the war in Iraq. And you also hear us talking about HERRICK later, which was the war in Afghanistan. So how was that tour for you? Was it kinetic?
No.
So it was...
I spent about 6 weeks sat in Q8.
Yeah.
And it was wild because I'd never worked with Americans before. And I think it was Thursday nights. We used to just jump in these military Land Rovers, drive to a place called Doha, to American base. And we were having burgers and watching movies. And I'm like, what is this? This is mental. One of the lads, I don't think he should have done it. He took a Land Rover, drove into Kuwait and went to the mall. He came back with some DJ speakers and a gold necklace. I'm like, what the hell? Then eventually we went over the line. So I was involved in that initial push over the line.
Yeah. So the invasion of Iraq.
Correct.
You were there, like leading at the front.
Right. And I went to a place called Azerbaijan Naval Base.
Yep.
Some guys went to the palace, some to the oil fields. We went into the naval base, kicked everyone out, set up a HQ there. And still just like not much going on. So I volunteered to be attached to an army medical unit as QRF for ambulances, thinking, right, I've got to get involved in something here now if I'm protecting medics, but still nothing. Never, I was around things, but I never fired a single round.
Yeah.
In 3.5 months, came home and just settled back into unit life.
Yep. And this is you down at Stonehouse.
Back to Stonehouse at that point, yeah. This is, I think, mid 2003. Then ended up going to air defense, which is still part of Stonehouse, but out of the main MT pool. And then just started doing stuff with those boys, just regular unit life. We went to Norway, America on an exercise Aurora, I think it was called, 2004.
And how was Norway? Again, for those that, Norway is a big part of Royal Marines training, isn't it? Did you do the getting yourself into the ice, into the water?
Norway's,
character building.
It's a shock when you first go there.
Yeah.
Doing survival exercise in the UK is miserable, but doing it in the snow is even more miserable. And just spooning 6 blokes or however many blokes you've got, and rotating through the night, just waiting for that center position, doing the rabbit and the chicken thing. skiing for miles. And, I was quite good at skiing. Well, military skiing. So, just walking with skis on. But it was an eye opener, but it was great at the same time. Just trying to see, can I survive in this environment? Have I got what it takes to, and it's like things like that are just, it's another level up, and another level up. And it was fun as well. Towards the end of that first trip, the lads, they entered me into a 15K ski race.
Yep.
I didn't want to do it. I was packing my kit ready to go. We were about 3 days away from going home. And I just heard my name announced on this tannoy, and everyone was getting ready for this event. And I ran out. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, you're in the race, mate. You got like 3 minutes to get to the start line.
That's brilliant. So you're thinking you're going home, you're done.
I was packing my kit in a nice warm grot.
Brilliant.
And you keep all your skis outside. And so I'm like, well, where's my skis? Because again, young lad, I didn't want to get in trouble. And do you know what clister is? So clister is like glue for skis. And if the snow's wet, you apply more. And if it's not so wet, you apply it. But it helps give you a little bit of stickiness. Yeah. And they had dumped an entire tube of clister on my skis, then put my skis together and glued them together. So I'm panicking. And then because I'm young and I'm dumb, everyone's laughing. And one of them says, oh, if you set the clister on fire, if you put a lighter on it, it will melt all of the glue off. So they gave me the lighter and I went and set my skis on fire, and all this black smoke came out, and everyone's just rolling around in the snow laughing at me. They're like, look at this idiot.
Was that like a minute, like, put your hand up if you want your motorbike license moment?
Exactly. It was just another like, let's see if this idiot falls for it. But I was panicking so much. There's like 2 minutes to get to the start line. Anyway, I eventually put the skis on, kind of waddled to the start line. And at the beginning of this race, you've got to go up this massive hill.
Yeah.
So I'm like powering ahead of people thinking this is great. Like I got this glue on my skis. It's going to be a great race. I'm going to do really well. Got to the top, put my poles in, and then just pushed and just stuck to the floor and rode like a cartoon, head over heels down this hill. I ran the entire 15K with skis on. Like, when you run into the ocean and you get to a bit and you got to like circumduct your legs, like flick them out to the side. 15K of doing that because there was so much glue on my skis that I couldn't move. And I didn't even come last. That was the weird thing. Like people that were skiing came after me, but it was brutal. But that's what I love about the military. They just saw me off. And you just do it anyway. Yeah. You could have just threw my dummy out and went, no, not doing it.
Which, we won't get into other bits, but I think that's a big test of character. And that is a big part of what the military is, that kind of stuff is character building, if you can endure that, the flip side of it is you can endure a firefight, and obviously Afghanistan stuff we'll get onto, but those bits I think they're essential. They're essential for military life and being a soldier first and foremost in whatever we do. We need that lifestyle in the military. It works and it serves a purpose other than it just being funny.
And it's a good memory. It's a great memory.
Absolutely. It's a good dit, isn't it? It's absolutely a good dit while we're having a brew. So what happened next? And are we nearing on the inevitable?
Well, I actually left the military after that.
Which I don't think many guys know, do they? That you
no, my partner at the time was pregnant with my eldest daughter, Kezia. And so I looked at my life and I thought, okay, I was quite lucky what I crammed into that 5 years. I'd got my Green Beret. I'd been out to Iraq, been to Norway. I never went to the jungle. That was the only thing I missed out on. But I looked at it and thought, okay, cool. I think I was 21, maybe coming up to 22. I thought, I've done a lot
of life experience for...
Yeah. I thought so.
A lad young in his 20s, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd crammed it in, so I thought I'll leave and join the police or the fire brigade or something because, my daughter was due to be born. So I left. I ended up separating from my daughter's mum about 2 months before I actually left. But in my mind, I was already a civilian. So I took the money that you get for re-education in the military, a bit that I'd saved, and I went to South Africa and I retrained as a bodyguard. For 6 weeks with the hope of working in the close protection world. Not the one back out in Iraq or anywhere, but like around London doing the kind of commercial stuff. But I couldn't get a job. I don't know why. There was plenty around. I didn't know anyone in that world. And I think because I was so young. It's
a world of very much who you know as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I didn't know anybody. And I was so young. I just, I applied for stuff.
Yeah.
the way I thought I was supposed to, but nothing came off. So I ended up rejoining in 2007.
Yep. So you're a couple of years out of service?
Just one.
Just 1 year.
Just 1 year. So no need to go through training again. Just
so
APWT, BFT, what do you call it? CS gas.
Yeah.
And then the swimming test. And that was it. And I was back in uniform.
Nice.
Ready to pick up my career.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So
that's when Afghanistan.
I'm sure a lot of people are eagerly awaiting, because it's obviously, if nothing had happened, you'd just be, still be Royal Marine Mark Ormrod, possibly still serving nearing the end of your career by now. But it didn't. So, deployed on HERRICK.
Yeah, I rejoined the military. Afghanistan was the focus. Went straight into pre-deployment training with my unit at the time, 40 Commando for Operation HERRICK 7, and then deployed on what should have been a 6-month tour.
Yeah.
Which I was looking forward to.
Just what we touched on earlier, which is it's hard to get into a fighting unit in the Corps, So you were, would you say, lucky to be?
I mean, it's not hard to get into a unit as such, but everyone wants to be in a unit.
Yes.
Everyone wants to be in a fighting unit doing warrior soldiery stuff. So I was quite lucky. The only other option was the Commando Training Center, which is non-deployable.
Recruitment video, there was a reason you joined that made you be like, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
So
joined the unit, got straight into training. And I did what I always do. I just keep my mouth shut. I'm the grey man for the majority of the time. Learn what I can learn. Don't particularly shine in any areas, which has been quite useful for me, just to be that grey man.
Yeah.
And then 7th of September 2007, deployed. Yeah. As part of the advance party.
Yeah. Talk us about your tour. So it should have been 6 months with a R&R for 10 days, 2 weeks, somewhere in the middle of that. How was it, boots on the ground at the start?
I loved it. It was very different to Iraq. We were getting rounds down like every day. Yeah. Multiple times a day, all hours of the day. Yeah. Having firefights in your underwear at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. It was awesome.
It's the stuff that is why a lot of us joined, wasn't it? Because that's what the lads wanted to experience.
It sounds odd, right? I'm going to downplay it massively, but it's like a big bucket list thing, right? It's like being a firefight with someone that wants to kill you.
It's one of those, like, if you know, and if you've done it, you've done it. Yeah. And we look at some like the tier 1 operators and like, that's so cool. But like most of the warfight, with no disrespect meant, was done by the guys on the ground, the infantry and the Royal Marines, obviously Para-Reg. So yeah.
It's just cool. Like, you're going out on these patrols. I didn't do any of that in Iraq. It was all vehicle-based stuff. And I'm going out on foot patrols, engaging with civilians, getting given a bit of responsibility as well. Yes. Becoming 2IC from time to time in these patrols, trying to lead and do that kind of stuff. And, conducting missions. And, it's kind of, in the beginning, it feels a bit like a game. Do you know what I mean? Like you're like a giant kid. And then the rounds start coming. You're like, oh shit, this isn't a game.
This is actually like, oh, yeah, this is real.
And I was very lucky in that no one that I deployed with was hurt or killed around me or on any of my patrols. So I didn't have to witness any of that. So it was quite cool. And we just going out, doing some cool stuff, helping, I believe, the people that we were there to help.
We did. Like,
I think so.
Whatever anyone says, like, facts speak for themselves. When we were there, the country and the civilian populace benefited from us, NATO, being there, I don't think people understand like how different that country in the Middle East is compared to our way of life. No. We'd see girls going to school, women walking, and it's easy for us to say like that's something that was very, very different, because that didn't happen, did it? Girls didn't go to school. Women
they got to experience a little bit of life while we were there.
Yeah, we absolutely categorically, factually speaking, made a difference, at least for the time that we were there. So it's what happened after.
And then Christmas Eve happened. Normally a pretty nice day. We'd dress up. The lads that have done tours before, when I was in, it was always a little bit of a lull
in the heat of what they would be. But Christmas Eve happened, and I suppose, I mean, your life changed forever then, didn't it? If you want to talk us through that day, like what happened? You woke up from stag, probably having a couple of hours in your bed space.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing as well. When you're not doing anything, even if you're in a war zone, then you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You're either like writing home or working out or, you know, sitting around chatting with the lads. And we got called up to the headquarters compound. We were given a brief and told we were going on a foot patrol.
Yeah.
We'd done hundreds of them before.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is this was like a really, really basic one. There was no mission, if you like. It wasn't like there's a weapon cache there, go destroy it. It was just go out the back gate, go for a bimble and come in the front gate. You know, I want 2 sections. Just like a way to maintain momentum, because there wasn't anything for us to do, but it was important that we were actually out of camp on the ground. So go out the back gate, 2 sections, one go north, one go south, come in the front gate, finish up. And then we had, I think the Gurkhas were making us some curried goat for Christmas. And we had a bag of
if you don't know what a curried goat, Gurkhas and a curried goat is. So it's something to look forward to come back to.
Something to look forward to, mate.
Yeah.
And we were just finishing up. I was second in command of this group, and we were on the high ground giving overwatch for this other section. All the lads are taking their fire positions. I was the last man in my half of the section to do that. And as I walked over towards the position that I selected for myself, I put my right knee on the ground as I went to get on my belly and knelt on and detonated an improvised explosive device.
Yeah. So it was, you literally just, no call sign, no ground sign, that was there. You just knelt down and what happened from there? Was there a moment when you were like, I know what I've done? Did your world slow down? Or what happened next?
So I didn't know what I'd done. I thought we were under attack.
Yeah.
You know, this thing exploded because of the terrain we were working in. It's very dusty and sandy, as you know. It created this huge dust cloud so you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
I could hear everyone, all the lads like shouting, trying to figure out what had gone on.
Yeah.
And where my adrenaline had spiked, I thought, okay, we're in a firefight now. ID the enemy.
Yeah. So at this point, you didn't know that it was you that had been hit?
No, not at all. And behind me, about 600 meters behind me, down on the low ground, was like a small group of trees, like a rectangular forestry block, and everything else around the area was just fields, like flat mud fields. Yeah. And so in all that chaos, you know, common sense tells you that if anyone's going to launch a rocket or a mortar bias, they're going to do it from there because they've got cover.
Yeah.
So in my mind, through all the chaos and the overwhelm and not being able to see anything, I was saying to myself, like, turn around, ID the enemy and start shooting.
Yes.
When you start shooting, the lads will start shooting. We had a big HMG about 200 meters away in camp that would have torn the entire forest in half. But after a couple of times in my mind of saying, turn around, even though I couldn't see anything, I knew that my body wasn't doing what my brain was telling it to do. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out why. So
and even at this point then, you're like, something isn't working, but you still didn't know anything was wrong or had happened or...
No, it's very odd. Like everything goes at like 1,000 miles an hour on the inside, but on the outside, it kind of goes into slow motion and it seemed like it was taking forever. It's probably seconds, but it felt on the outside like it was going on for ages, but on the inside, everything was rushing around. I'm like, where did the attack come from? I got to do this. I got to do that. Why am I not moving? I thought I was telling myself to move, but I'm not. Thousands of things going on. And then I realized that I wasn't moving. And so I thought, okay, what do I do? And there's nothing I could do except for wait for this dust cloud to settle and then see what was going on and then make some calls. And, you know, it eventually hit the ground, disappeared. I looked down to where my legs should have been. I was sat on the floor.
Yeah.
And they'd just both been completely ripped off from the knees down. That's a very surreal experience. It's very hard to explain it if you've not been in like a traumatic accident. Like what I just said about everything outside's 1,000 miles an hour, everything inside, or everything inside's 1,000 miles an hour, everything outside is slow motion. You look at this, you know, horrendous sight and your brain can't process it. Yeah. Everything feels really surreal. You don't feel any pain, which just adds to the confusion and the overwhelm.
Of what's going on, like.
And I'm like, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You're like, I don't know what I'm looking at, what is going on. then I thought about the rest of the section. So, and again, it's like a second, maybe 2 seconds. I was just staring, snapped out of it, looked around, saw the section commander. Face was grey, eyes were huge, and then I'm trying to figure out why he looks like that.
Yeah.
And
and you hadn't
just confused.
Put 2 and 2 together that my legs are gone. And at this point, had you been like, my right arm's also not
So as I
working.
went to look back to my legs to try and make sense of what I was looking at, I saw my arm. Yeah. That was just laying in the sand, so still attached.
Still attached, just not.
Just everything ripped open in the bicep and in the forearm. Just this like mess of like traumatically removed limbs.
Yeah.
And none of it made sense. It was just bizarre. And because I wasn't in any pain again, it didn't feel like it was real. And then again, it's hard to comprehend the time, but seconds, it probably was seconds that I realized what had gone on. Because I remember thinking there's no follow-up attack. Like,
what's going on?
What's going on? So then I'm like,
as you said, this was just a standard patrol. It wasn't, you weren't expecting a kinetic firefight. It was.
No. But because there wasn't one, I'm like, I remember piecing it together thinking, okay, we're not under attack. You're the dickhead that stood on the IED.
Yeah. And what a mindset to have. I'm the dickhead that stood on the IED.
But we talked about it. The lads used to talk about it.
And we drill it, don't we? Actions on. If you do, like, so it's ingrained into us what to do. Like, the first point of it is, and if anyone's watching it doesn't understand like the military, what we do, fortunately, if you're hit by an IED, you're not the priority. The priority is to win the firefight. And obviously that was what was ingrained into you, saying, I need to turn around, PID the position and start engaging. And that is how important military training is, isn't it? It was ingrained into you that you performed like a robot of how you should have done.
And you do. You have to do that.
As you said, you absolutely did. So we're now looking at ourselves, your section commander looking at you very like, fuck, this guy's not in a good place. But in your head, you're like, oh, it's just a bit.
Well, it kind of started kicking in at that point.
Yeah.
I realized what I'd done.
Yeah.
And what you're saying about, drills and I don't know if this was the case for everybody in the military. I don't know if this still happens now, but for us, we were trained not to run in to help the casualty.
Yeah. Because you need to check for secondaries, don't you?
Right. And there were 6.
Yeah. There
were 6 other IEDs around me. And so straight away, my mind's like, oh shit, no one's running in to help me here.
Yeah.
I've read the report that was written from the guys that cleared the area.
Yeah.
We were in a 12-foot by 15-foot crater at this point on high ground. So I literally at lightning speed, I'm running through this scenario like, this sucks. Like, I'm on high ground, that's hard enough. I'm in a crater, that's hard enough. I've got 6 IEDs around me, that's hard enough. And no one's allowed to run in to help me.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way I can survive this.
Is that a point then where you were like, my life's done?
Yeah. I took my helmet off at that point and threw it over to the side. And I actually asked Sean, the guy in charge, to shoot me. And I just waited. I thought it would be like getting punched in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then my lights would just go out.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't do that. And all of the lads in the section, and it's just phenomenal what people do when they need to. Everyone had their own job to do.
Yeah.
And everyone did it perfectly. So I had like a guy who was 19 on his belly with a bayonet, clearing a safe route for when the medic got to me.
Yeah.
I had another guy calling in a Kazivac, giving a 9-liner. Another guy coordinating all around defense in case there was a small arm attack, small arm follow-up attack. Another guy talking to me constantly because, I don't know what the time was exactly. Maybe a minute had gone and I'm in and out of consciousness and just groaning at this point with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And they just did it all perfectly.
Yeah.
And the
Pain
medic
had
got
started
to
to kick in then?
Say again?
Pain started to kick in then?
It was hurting at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the medic got to me very, very quickly because we were so close to camp. Gave me pain relief, tourniqueted my legs, got me to tourniquet my arm, scooped up the bits that were still kind of semi-attached, put me on a stretcher, got me out of there, threw me in a vehicle. The vehicle drove me back to camp, got me to the HLS. And the last thing I remember is the Chinook landing. And as it got to the ground, I blacked out. That was it. I was out. And I was told later, clinically declared dead.
Yeah. Which is...
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. You blacked out. And that was, you had died then.
Mm-hmm.
What is the next thing you remember?
The next thing I remember is waking up, choking on a feeding tube. I didn't know it was a feeding tube at the time. Being absolutely exhausted to the point where I couldn't even open my eyes.
Yeah.
I remember just laying. I came around, it's like 3 days later. So I think it was the 28th of December.
Yeah.
And all I could make out was like lights from the ceiling.
Yeah. You even missed Christmas Day.
I missed it all, mate.
Ridiculous.
I know. I remember the lights from the ceiling and just retching. And I could feel I had like some sort of mask on my face. I didn't feel I wasn't scared. I kind of knew I was safe somehow. And I was trying to open my eyes. And it was like, it felt like someone had put fishing hooks in my eyelids and then dangled weights off of them. And I remember I was laying there once they pulled the tubes out and I could breathe, focusing like all of my energy to my eyelids, like laying there, just trying to channel it all. And I couldn't even open my eyes. I was so exhausted. I think obviously I was on a lot of pain relief as well. But I could hear people around me. And I think that's why I knew I was safe. And I could hear
family and friends or medical professionals at this point?
All of them, both. And I could hear Becky. She was my girlfriend at the time, now my wife. And everything was echoing. I remember like someone would say something once and I could hear it 3 or 4 times echoing. And I was just super confused, but not scared. And that's when I actually proposed to Becky, because I could recognize her voice. Couldn't see her because I couldn't open my eyes. And she was leaning in really close and I couldn't even speak. I was mumbling and I don't even know where it came from. But I just kind of asked her to marry me. And she eventually heard what I was saying. She said yes. And then I just passed out. I can't explain how exhausted I was. It was just unreal.
Your body's just been through a triple traumatic amputation.
And surgery.
You've been in a coma, a medically induced coma for 3 days before you've come round. I mean, I don't think many people would be waking up.
No.
Let's go for a walk and propose to my girlfriend, Yeah. And it's, you were thousands of miles away when you died in Afghanistan. So you would have been taken back to Camp Bastion, where they would have brought you back.
That's where they did the initial tidy up surgery.
Yeah. Saved your life, induced you into a coma and flown you back to Birmingham, and Selly was it you were at?
Selly, yeah.
So it's where Selly, where injured soldiers from the UK come once they've been stabilised in Camp Bastion, like the main base in Afghanistan. So you fell back asleep.
And then woke up the next day. I think what they did was reduce my medication to gradually bring me out of that coma.
Yeah.
And for the next week, I was on the intensive care ward and they reduced it bit by bit every day so I could be awake for longer and try and...
But didn't you have you on any breathing apparatus or anything?
No.
You were...
No, the tubes were just for feeding.
You'd just gone by and you died 3 days in a coma. And then, I mean, evidently there's a lot of physical trauma, but you're okay in your head. You can breathe by yourself and you've proposed to your girlfriend. I mean, who does that? How do you think your body managed to endure that? Did you have a reason why? Being like, I'm going to pull through this? Because, I mean, to be there after 3 days, having some long naps, we'll call them, but to be there is pretty damn impressive, Mark.
I mean, I was on autopilot. I didn't have a clue what was going on. I like to think this, like when you put yourself in situations through life, adverse situations like Royal Marines training, prior to that, I won't bore you with my fight stories about being a competitive kickboxer, but as a teenager, I was fighting men and winning. Yeah. And I think you just develop this subconscious attitude. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So maybe in that scenario while I'm unconscious, my subconscious is like, meh, it's just another challenge and you'll get over it. And like
which is some mindset, it's one of the most horrific injuries to to anyone that served in Afghanistan. And you're like,
on the surface it is.
It is another challenge.
Yeah. But I mean, so on the surface, yes. 2 legs, dominant arm, but that's it. Like I don't have, I've got friends who had shrapnel tear their intestines up and they have, shot through the lung or through the neck, or they've got traumatic brain injuries, and I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. And
super lucky.
Obviously, you've lost both your legs.
Yeah.
And an arm.
Right.
Anything else? Manhood?
All good, mate. All good. It's the first time in my life I've been glad that I've got a small penis because the shrapnel in my left leg.
I've seen it and it is tiny.
If you look at my left leg, like the flesh that was ripped from the inside of my thigh literally stops where my manhood ends. Sorry. So they're if it was any bigger, it would have took the end off. So,
nice.
There's a blessing there.
Win for small dicks.
But yeah, still there, still works.
Nice.
2 more kids followed after all the old fashioned way. So yeah, very lucky.
I love it, old fashioned way.
Very lucky.
So you've gone through this traumatic experience. How is your head, your mental health, like immediately after and like the superseding weeks and months?
So I was 24 years old at this point. The first week or 2, it was just bullshit. Like I was trying to pretend that I was okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about all the people around me and I wanted them to feel okay. And I think they were doing the same. They weren't okay, but they were bullshitting me that they were. And we just bullshitted our way through the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Then I got the talk from the doctor saying, "You'll never walk again."
And for those watching, they need to keep a hold of that point, don't they? And that conversation, that sentence, "You'll never walk again."
I mean, it's a bit more in depth than that. He explained to me that because I'd lost both my legs above the knee, I'd have no chance of walking.
Yeah.
And in his 30 plus years experience of working with amputees, he'd never met anyone with 1 leg above the knee that had success with prosthetics because they were so difficult, painful, and hard to use that they didn't bother. So that hit me pretty hard, because when you're in hospital and you're on all this medication and it messes up all your sleep routines, you're up at like 2, 3 in the morning and it's very lonely and all you can do is think. And he told me that, and I didn't really sleep that night, and I just was going over and over and over again what he was telling me. And it's the only time in my life when I wanted to commit suicide. You can probably see the scar on my hand. I only had the use of 2 fingers at the time. Was getting fed through a tube, 24 years old, no legs, 1 arm missing. Everything was just like horrendously difficult, even sitting up in bed. So I'm like, okay, cool. Time to bow out. But then I got visited by another amputee about 5 days after that. And he was missing both his legs above the knee. And almost like what my uncle did when he told me about his experiences in the Marines, this dude told me his experiences as a bilateral above knee amputee. And that kind of gave me a bit of hope. And then I got a laptop brought in my room with a dongle to get connected to the internet. And then started doing some research. I'm like, okay, what could my life look like? I've just met this guy who's got injuries similar to mine. They're not quite the same, but they're similar. What other people around the world have injuries like mine that are out there doing cool shit?
And had you almost at that point been like, I've forgotten what this doctor said. You're now focused back to that military mindset of like, what can I do with my life?
I mean, I wasn't disregarding his comments or being disrespectful to him, but I've always just thought, if I've seen something with my own eyes, and I've seen this guy come in my room, he sat with me for like 6 hours, and I'm like, well, okay, this guy's done it. Yeah. Like the doctor is just telling me his experiences. He wasn't an amputee. He just worked with them extensively. Yeah. And I'm like, well, this guy's done it. Yeah. It's like the Roger Bannister effect, right? Like no one thought you could break a 4-minute mile until he did it, then everyone did it. Yep. Eddie Hall's deadlift. Exactly. Yep. Exactly that, mate. So I'm like, okay, well, this dude's done it. So what's stopping me doing it? All right, it'd be a bit more challenging because I've got my dominant arm missing, but he can walk, I can walk. And then that was it. Like just 6 weeks in hospital, straight to rehab, head in the game, give me the legs, let's go. Which is incredible, But like I said, I was 6 weeks in hospital and then you're starting rehab. Yeah. Well, I started it in hospital.
Yeah,
I was sat on the end of my bed with a table tennis paddle and a balloon.
Yeah.
Like my physio, like getting me to tap it and stretch my body to work my core.
I mean, you could have just sat there feeling sorry for yourself, which would have,
and I did sometimes.
And that would have been absolutely understandable after what's happened and just been like, no, gone sunk into a hole.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
No, it's just not really it's not my default setting.
No.
So then I got out of there and I was just like, right, give me the legs. Let's do the physical part. Because I thought, well, I'm pretty fit. It can't be that hard.
I know you've told me before where you were like, you knew you were going to get your medal from Afghanistan, from fighting, when the guys came back and presented theirs. And that was a bit, and please correct me if I'm wrong, where you're like, I will be standing when I'm given my medal. I ain't doing that in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Because I already knew from a young age, and I taught myself this in military training, that you have to have goals to motivate you and to, get you out your pit every day to do something. So I, in my mind, said, right, that's what I'm going to do. When they get back from Afghan, we do the medals parade, I'm going to be at a level with these legs where I can stand. Even if it's only for like 5 minutes. And
the medals parade, just to make it clear, so you were injured in a few months of deploying. Medals parade is normally like a few months after the guys come back. So it's not like this is like years later. This is still, we're talking months.
It was a couple, like 6 months maybe.
Post injury.
Yeah. And it was brutal. It was unbelievably painful. I had to stand there for like 45 minutes.
Yep. With a lot of pain going through your stumps.
It wasn't even just the pain. When the whole unit were formed up, I walked on the parade ground and I had a stick because I couldn't balance at the time. And every tiny little gust of wind felt like I was stood on top of Everest, and I was shitting myself that I was going to stack it in front of all these people and embarrass myself and embarrass the Royal Marines. So I was just like rigid. Like I remember I
remember the photos. I remember them.
Just sweat dripping down my back. And the way you kind of operate prosthetics when you've got, when you're a bilateral amputee is through your glutes. So just tense my ass cheeks like non-stop for 45 minutes, sweating, swaying, lightheaded and dizzy because my body hadn't adjusted, my blood pressure hadn't adjusted to, being laying down for weeks on end, then to being stood up. And it was rough, mate. And it was a lot harder than it looked. But I managed to kind of grizz it out for that time, get the medal, and then got back in my wheelchair and went home.
Which is wild. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
A few months ago, you're never going to walk again. And there you are, stood on parade for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and it wasn't pretty. Like I didn't mince onto the parade ground like I would nowadays. Like I said, I had the stick. I couldn't activate the legs properly. They were like stiff, and I had all the settings so that they were as safe as they could be. And so it didn't look pretty when I was walking, but I didn't care. My objective was to be stood. You
set yourself a goal and you achieved it.
And I'll figure that stuff out after. Yeah. I'll make it look pretty later.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I got the medal. And
how was it when you were presented your medal?
Yeah, it was cool because my sergeant major was there to give it to me, and he was one of the people that Casivac'd me. Yeah. So that was kind of cool after what we'd been through together. I felt proud that what I wanted to do was kind of show, because the media are there, aren't they? And the family and friends, I wanted to show them what being a Royal Marine is about. Yeah. Because everyone talks about it, this mindset and being physically strong and able and overcoming adversity and cheerfulness in the face of adversity. And I thought, well, this is an opportunity kind of to show the world. Yeah. And I put a lot of pressure on myself, which is why I think I was so nervous about falling over and things. But I wanted to show everyone, like, this is what it means. Like, you can talk about it, you can make recruiting videos and posters about it, but this is what we do. And
again, for nothing selfishly, more even for showing other guys, like, doesn't matter. Whatever's thrown at you, you've got it.
Yeah,
it's just what's instilled in us, and
this is the way we think. This is the way we're trained. This is what we do. This is what it means.
So we're now around 6 months post-Afghan, post-injury. You've been given your medal. Mm-hmm. How is your mental health? Are you comfortable? Did you have PTSD?
No.
Which I think
I had what they called back then. This is now like been scientifically tested, and they've written papers on it. I had what they call post-traumatic growth.
Yeah.
Where you go into a traumatic event, when you come out the other side stronger than when you went in.
Yeah.
And I bumped into my physio years later. I was speaking in, I think it was the O2 Arena at an event, and I bumped into him there. And he was explaining this concept to me. I didn't know what it was at the time. And he said, trauma is like alcohol, and it just amplifies more of who you are. So, you know, when you go out drinking, if you're the guy that hugs everyone and tells them you love them, alcohol will make you be more of that person.
Yes.
If you're an asshole, you're going to be the rude, aggressive guy who's like
scrapping.
Yeah, exactly. And he said like trauma's the same. It just amplifies more of who you are naturally. And because that's
testament to you as an individual then as well. You know, this has happened, and it's amplified who you are, which is evidently, no homo, full-time good bloke. So it's,
But yeah, I mean, also being so young, you sit there and you go, well, what's my alternative? Like sit in a wheelchair for the rest of my life for people.
And what a mindset that is, you know, sit in a wheelchair, have my benefits of which you would be given to be, you know, you can't stay in the Royal Marines and work as a Royal Marine. You most jobs are probably off the cards to you at this point.
Yes. You
know, but you didn't just sit there, have your bits of money that you get from the injuries you've sustained, did you? You went and worked for a charity. Again, I say worked for a charity. You went and volunteered for a charity.
No, I did work for them.
Yeah, you did work for them as well.
I was very lucky. I was discharged eventually in 2010.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny because I was going through these organizations where you call them up and you have like a 45-minute interview, and they ask you all these things about your hobbies and what you're interested in and what your qualifications are. And they knew my situation. And this was prior to leaving. I think I haven't used a wheelchair since the 9th of June, 2009. So it was prior to that, because I remember I was in a wheelchair.
I remember you saying to me at that point, you were like, I will not use a wheelchair.
Yeah, no, I got rid of it at the beginning of June 2009. So this interview I had was before June 2009 because I was a part-time wheelchair user.
Yeah.
And I went through this interview and they said, we think you'd be very well suited to being a labourer on a building site. And I'm like, what? Like a human wheelbarrow? Like lads would just stack bricks on me in a wheelchair and push me around a building site.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I was so angry. I wasn't rude to anyone on the phone, but I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, are you not insane? And I left in 2010 in July. And I was really lucky. I was just about to set out on a trip where me and some guys were running across America from New York to LA.
Yeah. And
I got a phone call off a retired brigadier. And we had met at some of the lads' funerals, but we didn't really know each other. And he was the chief executive of what was then the Royal Marines Association.
Yeah.
And he rang me up and offered me a job. And I was like, this is brilliant. Like, I don't have to leave the Royal Marines technically, because I'll still be around it. And I can earn an income, and I'm not on a building site as a labourer. And I said, sir, I would love that. Thank you so much. What would you like me to do? He went, I don't know yet. We'll make something up. And then I went off and ran across America. And it was a fundraising event. I made them one of the benefactors. So I'm like, brilliant. I'm actually working.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, I'm running across America. This is my job.
As a triple amputee.
Yeah. But
and 3 months before you were struggling to stand for 45 minutes on a parade square.
No, it was like a year before that I was doing that. But I remember thinking, wow, this is a job. I get to like do cool adventures, raise money, and they pay me.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And that was my life for 10 years.
Yeah.
After that, 2010 to 2020.
And how much money did you raise for the Royal Marines Association, Royal Marines charity whilst you were doing this job?
It's really difficult. I never tracked it. And then, you raise money directly.
Yeah.
But then you also assist people, in their fundraisers. And then sometimes you get other people going, I'm doing this because I saw you do that. So you're like, what? I don't know what to attribute to it, but I think it's a couple million. It's a good couple million over those 10 years.
And obviously the lads' lives that's helped impact is phenomenal. You know firsthand from having support from the community that you come from, how much that money's done to support the guys. And it's not just guys that have been physically injured, guys that may have mental health issues, guys that have had welfare issues. You know, it goes to supporting the community you come from. So
and their families.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
some guys, you know, as you know, didn't make it back, so they've got widows and children without dads. So that goes to support them in many different ways as well. So, and it's crazy, mate. Like, what better job is there than, you know, selfishly, you know, like the run and all the other things that I've been involved in. I did that for my ego. It's like, can I do these physical things? Let me see what I'm capable of. But then the other side of it is, if I can do this selfish thing, but raise money at the same time, it's a good thing. Yeah. And so, you know, it was kind of from these two worlds they met, and it was like the perfect storm.
Everybody ultimately wins off the back
I got to, you know, scratch my ego and, you know, do these things that I wanted to challenge myself to do. And then people got to benefit from it, which is great. It's perfect.
10 years have passed. You're now married.
Yes.
2 beautiful kids.
3 altogether.
3 altogether.
Them,
2 with Becky.
Yeah.
Life's doing all right after what could have been a very different outcome.
Yes.
Happy at this point in your life? I'm saying it like you're not happy now, but at this point in your life,
it's brilliant. You know, you've got to make the most of what you've got, right? Yeah. And you can be a victim or you can be a victor. And I just don't see the benefit in being a victim.
No.
For anybody.
No. Like, nobody wins off of you being a victim. No, you don't win. You don't help anybody. You don't help yourself. No. So it's...
You know, and you don't set an example either.
No.
You know, I've got 3 children. Yeah. In my mind, and over the years, I've sat there and thought about this a lot. You know, I could have sat there in a wheelchair, and I'm not disrespecting anybody. That takes a different path to me, right?
This is just your point of view.
But I was imagining myself sat there in a wheelchair, and maybe not working. Yeah. And wanting my kids to grow up to be decent people, and you know, the way I grew up, like meritocracy, hard work. That's how you earn your way in life.
Yes.
And me telling them these things, but not showing them. Like them seeing me in a wheelchair, and then eventually they see someone with prosthetics and think, well, why isn't daddy wearing those legs? And so I thought I've got to live my life to the limit. Like, I've got to get up at the same time every day, early, work hard, dominate prosthetics, do these cool fundraising things, help people that need help, and show them as well as tell them, and try and be a role model, you know, to them. And that's a big driver. You know, it's a big driver for me. And now, you know, growing up, as they've grown up, my daughter's going to be 21 in January. She's got her own business. Yeah. She's been working since she was like 13 years old. She's been through some severe adversity herself. Now she's got her own salon with 6 people working for her. Yeah. It's crazy. I just went and I dropped in and saw her yesterday. My boy, he's 14. He plays rugby and football much better than I did when I was at school. But then yesterday, I dropped him and his 2 mates down to the gym. And I'm driving them to the gym, and they're all like, they got their protein shakes and they're ready to go, and they're jacking weights as well. And I'm like, this is cool. And then my little girl, Evie, last night, you know, she's 12. We're up, she's got a school play coming up, Jane Eyre. And we're repping out all her lines, and she's done it. She's like mastered them all already. Nice. And I'm like, this is cool. You know what I mean? It's like together, you know, me and Becky and other influences in their life have kind of raised them in a way where, you know, you have to read those lines, Evie. Yeah. You're not going to remember them on the night. You want to get good at football and rugby, Mason, you got to do it in the rain, in the sun, whatever, and he does it. You want a successful business, Kez? Yeah, you got to pay these taxes and figure out how to do this yourself. You've got to employ people and deal with any bullshit that comes along with that, with management. You've got to work 12 hours a day in the beginning. You know this stuff. Yeah. And they've done it all, mate. Yeah. They've done it all. I'm so proud of them. Like the way they just grizz stuff out, and they're resilient as hell.
Nice. Inspiring.
Yeah.
Well, and if that was the end of your story, that would be a pretty mega story. But we're not even close to the end of it, are we?
No.
You left the Royal Marines charity.
I did.
And you've gone to a thing called REORG.
I don't work for REORG. I'm a trustee.
So you're a trustee for REORG. You do a lot of stuff with REORG and Jiu Jitsu.
Yes.
How
Brazilian
did you
Jiu-Jitsu.
get about doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
So when I was working for the Royal Marines charity, I was at Royal Marines headquarters. I was in the sergeant's mess at a function, and I met a guy called Sam Sheriff.
Yep.
Sam was a physical training instructor, colour sergeant at the time. He was the head of Royal Marines Unarmed Combat, and I think he was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And we didn't know each other, and he introduced himself to me in the sergeant's mess, started talking to me about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and asked if I'd ever tried it. I hadn't. I didn't even know what it was. I had tried Japanese Jiu Jitsu when I was a kid. Yeah. I had competed in Muay Thai, kickboxing and boxing as a teenager before joining the military. And he invited me to what he called the combat room to see if I would enjoy doing it. He explained it. He explained what it was to me, took me down to this converted squash court, took my legs off, I put a gi on, and then he explained that it was a ground-based grappling system, like a combat system. I thought, well, okay, I'm sat on the floor, so I'm already halfway there. Then he started explaining to me the objectives, choke somebody, submit them with an arm bar or whatever you do. And then he started showing me techniques. Yeah. And then we started figuring out how to adapt them. And what I loved about it, first of all, was that after he'd spent an hour beating the shit out of me, I had that feeling again, when your lungs are burning and your heart's beating and you've just been in a fight, even though it's a controlled one and it's safe, like that combat again with the guy. And I didn't think I'd feel that again. And the fact that all this stuff was adaptable and that I could do it on merit rather than sympathy and pity was quite appealing to me. And that was in 2017. And I just started training and learning and adapting and trying to figure stuff out. I've never really been to a regular class because a lot of it doesn't apply to me. Don't really watch tutorials because a lot of it doesn't apply to me. I just try to understand the concepts of certain parts of it and what my objective is and marry the two up and then just figure stuff out on my own. And in the beginning, it was hard because you have that mindset of this is how it must be done. Yeah. But then you speak to people over the years and you watch people and you learn more and more and you realize that everybody, whether they've got all their fingers and all their toes or not, everyone does it to their own style and ability and body type and strengths. So I felt a lot more comfortable doing it that way then. And it's just a lot of fun too. There's a really cool community wrapped up around Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's very similar to the military, I find, in that you all start on day one as a white belt, then it was nothing. You all go through this journey of adversity and success and failure and confusion and overwhelm and a steep learning curve. And then, if you all stick it out, you all end up as black belts at the same time. And I think that shared adversity is where strong bonds are formed. That's why so many people in the military, you cannot see them for years and then we don't even know them. I've bumped into people that I didn't even know from the Royal Marines and met them on holiday. But you pick up a conversation and you've known them your whole life, don't you? Exactly. And it's similar in jiu-jitsu. You look at someone on the tube and they've got cauliflower ear. Straight away you're like, they either play rugby or they do jiu-jitsu, and then you kind of nod at them. All right, mate. Oh, mate, yeah. And give them the little cauliflower ear wink. And you're not obviously a white belt anymore. No. You're a purple belt. Yes. Third or fourth stripe? Fourth stripe. So, a brown belt is inevitable at some point soon. I don't know, not too soon. I didn't do it this year because I just got too overwhelmed with work, but I'd like to go to the Para Jiu-Jitsu Championships in Abu Dhabi. Just to state on that as well, I didn't do Jiu-Jitsu that much this year, still competed, pressured him. A lot of peer pressure. Mark, why aren't you competing? This is on the day of the REORG Open, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's not today. Pussy. You didn't just go and compete though, did you? No, No, I won a gold and a silver. The silver still annoys me because I only lost by 2 advantage points. Which is brilliant. You've gone from there from the morning of, we went and we were sat down having breakfast, giving you a bit of shit as we do, just good military banter. And a couple of hours later, you're on the mat. And again, some of the guys you fought had all their limbs. And you didn't just win by points. You won some of them by submission as well. Yeah. The para sports are difficult to match people up. Yeah. So you kind of don't know what you're getting. And in normal jiu-jitsu, they'll do it by your weight, your grade. Yeah. But in para jiu-jitsu, it's just a giant absolute where you just it's a free for all.
Any belt, any weight, isn't it? It's just
and you just got to suck it up and just
embrace the suck.
That it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I perform better like that.
Yeah.
Like that you don't have the weeks of anxiety leading up to it. You just turn up on a day you're feeling good. You're like, yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And in your mind, I convince myself, I'm like, well, if I lose, I got a built-in excuse because I'm like, well, I didn't train for it. So anyway, I wasn't going to win, was I? But then when you win, you're like, ha, I won.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I perform better like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, not always, but sometimes.
Yeah. Love it. And let's touch on REORG a little bit. So you became a trustee of REORG, which was predominantly in its infancy through Sam, and when I met Sam, for giving jiu-jitsu to the guys and girls that have struggled and giving them a purpose to carry on.
Yeah.
REORG has evidently exploded now.
Yeah.
It is huge. It's not just jiu-jitsu, it's CrossFit, gym, and they support the guys and girls at, are you suffering? Are you in a safe place? Yes, you're supported.
Yeah.
And now there can't be enough money raised for it to help fund the guys that need it. And you've raised a little bit of money for REORG as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I think the Just Given page is at like 700,000. So that's like the online, but then we do a lot outside of that as well. So hopefully that's close to $1 million. But we've got a backlog of people.
Yeah.
There's
around £1,000 per person
on
to help
average
support them.
Yeah. We have
700 individuals that you've helped give them a purpose and a reason.
It's not
through the challenges that you've done as well. You've done a bike ride of, it was 90, we call it 100 mile bike ride. You went for a pretty phenomenal run as well and a swim.
Yeah.
How do you even swim? You've got one arm.
Just cuff it, like everything. This is what I was just going to say. This is like the jiu-jitsu tournament you just talked about. I love like in the military how you can just cuff things. So like the run, that was all of it was an accident. I was out just running with my coach and I fell over in the park and I uploaded the video.
I remember seeing the video,
because I hit the ground.
You're on your blades, weren't you?
Yeah, and the media picked it up. And I was just talking about REORG. It wasn't even anything to do with that. I was just doing some fizz.
Yeah.
And then I said, look, if I can raise 5K for this charity I've just become a trustee of, I'll do a 5K run.
Yeah.
And I've got an office at home in my converted garage. And it was live on the BBC. And by the time I'd walked from my garage to my front room, I had 68 grand. So I'm like, shit, I need to run.
Now I've got to do it.
And I hate running. And it was between lockdowns and I hadn't worn my running prosthetics for like 4 years. They weren't aligned. All the sole had been worn off.
Yeah.
So when the carbon fiber hits the tarmac, it's like ice skating, which is why I fell over. And I'm like, well, no, I've got to do this. And I thought I'd have like 6 weeks to train. I had one other running session and then we did it and it was so ugly. Like I wouldn't call it running. It was just like hopping with style. And my back was in pieces because the legs weren't aligned, but we did it. And then as far as I was concerned, that was it. And then my coach was like, why don't we do a swim? Because he liked open water sea swimming.
Yeah.
And I had swam before at like the Invictus Games. And I'd kind of got a technique, but I hadn't swam in the ocean. It was in like a pool. And we went out and we started swimming and I started trying to figure it out and eventually figured out a stroke and a rhythm, like a breathing to stroke ratio that worked for me. And so we just went out and did a 1K swim, which ended up being a world record, which was cool. And that brought the total up even further. And then at this time, REORG had just started gone from the serving military and the veteran world to also the emergency services, which is why I did a 99.9 mile bike ride, like 999. I thought it was great marketing, but no one else did.
No.
And I instantly regretted it. I should have done 99.9 kilometers, but that was like and again, this is completely my fault, but I left all the planning to like my coach and the team.
Yeah.
And we started in Recruitment. It's a 6.6 mile climb. And I've only got one hand. The prosthetic doesn't provide any power because I haven't got an elbow. It's just steering.
Yeah.
So that was a 24.5 hour bike ride, which I'm not good at endurance events. I'm more like in out, job done. That's when I'm at my worst, when I'm like snappy and angry. And when it's at 2 a.m. and you've got a dude in front of you on a regular bike and he farts and the fart comes down and hits you in the face when you're angry and tired. You're like, I snapped. But we managed to do it. And then, like in total, we got up to about 700,000 for that series of events.
And it still didn't stop there. Since that, we've done a truck pull as well.
Oh yeah, I did that. That was January this year, I think. I tried to break a world record by pulling this Ford truck.
And I mean, on that, let's just touch on a little bit, like, because social media, like back then, wasn't a thing. You know, when we started this conversation as a kid, now it's a thing. You know, social media is huge. How people can give you a bit of abuse is beyond me. But you've had a bit of trolling going as well, haven't you?
I like it.
You know, like
I like it when people troll me. I genuinely do. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, I'm pulling that truck, and I did it on my what they called stubbies, my short legs. Yep. So this truck's 2.3 tons.
Yeah, this is a big Ford Ranger truck.
Ford Ranger. Know? I only had to pull it 100 meters, but all I have to power with is my ass muscles.
Yeah,
I don't have ankles, toes, calves, quads don't work, hams don't work. Like none of it's connected. It's just literally my ass. And I failed the first 2 attempts, got the 3rd attempt. They wouldn't give me a world record because they said I stopped. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't even care at this point. I'm like, you can take your certificate. I don't care. And put it online. And Eddie Hall put it on.
Yeah.
And the amount of abuse that it was just comical because people, it just shows their ignorance that they don't understand. Yeah. They're like, well, that's not fair. You don't get sore legs and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, no, but my ass hurts like hell, and every other part of my body hurts like hell. And you know, it's 2.3 tons.
And okay, like, when did you last pull a truck then?
Exactly.
Let alone missing limbs.
Yeah.
And
so I just laugh about it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Does it affect you in any way, seeing any of the hate? Because there's also equally a hell of a lot of support for you out there as well.
It's like 3% hate, you know, and the rest is all support. And it's, I mean, even yesterday, you know, like, and this wasn't directed at me, but it just highlights how many ignorant morons there are on the internet. I tweeted about how proud I was dropping my son and his friends to the gym.
Yeah.
That their mindset, they were just talking about sports and, you know, doing well in school as I was driving them down there, and then what they were going to work out in the gym. And I'm like, this is cool. I like this.
Nice.
And then I woke up this morning and it's like, your son's in for a life of steroid abuse. And I'm like, what?
Where did you get that from?
And I'm like, and this person, I know what I'm talking about. I've dealt with loads of kids that I'm like, cool, but you've not dealt with mine.
Yeah.
Like, take your toxic attitude and your stupid opinion and keep it. You know, lock yourself in your mum's basement.
Like this amount of hate into something positive, they could achieve so much more.
Yeah, it's part and parcel of it,
like,
mate.
I have that in a bit, and I'm sure you've got that in a bit as well. Like, if I see people making supplements that are just so absolutely abysmal, I have this like rage inside me that how can you make that? How can you go to bed at night knowing that you're just stealing money from people? Which I think is a little bit different, dare I say it to me, to just hating on someone because of something that's been perceived compared to what I can see that is factually correct, which supplements we can join. So you weren't obviously always combat fuel. You were with Grenade for a long time as well.
Yep.
And again, kudos to Al. If you don't know Grenade, and a lot of people know Grenade now as like the big brand, but Al made Grenade a household name. So
yeah, he's a geezer, mate. He's a cool guy.
And he's done a lot to support the community as well. You know, we make better supplements. He does make some pretty damn good protein bars though. You know, I think that's unarguable. He changed the industry through what he did, and it was brilliant. But you were a Grenade for a long time. And you know, we never pressured you to say, Mark, leave Grenade, come to us, we're better. It was just always seeing you a lot of stuff with REORG. I think it was then we were at a REORG, it was at the Arnold's, wasn't it? And I always said to you, like, look, if you ever want to do anything with us, there's an open door. I don't see you doing a lot with Grenade. If you want to do some stuff with us, then, you know, would you like to try some of our products? Being a Royal Marine, it's not the first time you've tasted piss.
Unicorn piss.
Yeah, that's what else did I mean?
Yeah. Oh.
Where did we go from there? You know, you tried some products. What did you think to them? I'm massively like setting this up for you to blow my trumpet now.
No, I think the first thing I say is like Al and Grenade took really good care of me.
Yes.
But I can't sit still, mate. Like I have to be doing stuff all the time. And, you know, as you were growing, you know, you look on your ambassador board, there's a lot of my friends are on there.
Yeah.
And you're doing things like this and create. And I've done Al's podcast. I went to his house. He let me and Mason stay at his house and we did that. But I need to feel like I'm contributing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Feel like he was giving me loads of free stuff and I'm like, I'm not doing anything in return for it.
Yeah.
And I want to get stuck in. And so, this came up and it was, as you can imagine, quite an awkward for me to be like, I've got this opportunity. Do you mind if I do it? And he was lovely.
Yeah. There was no animosity or was there?
Mate, he's not like that. He's great. Al sent me a photo on a couple years ago on Christmas Day of him and Richard Branson, both flipping me off on one of their islands. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But he looked after me and he completely got it and he wished me well and we're friends.
Yeah.
But I want to get stuck in and, I'm 42 and I still feel like a kid. Like I want to hang around with my mates and just do fun shit all the time. Do you know what I mean?
I love it.
Back to your original question, I love what you do here. I love the fact that you're a veteran. I love that you're successful. And I'm not saying this to blow smoke at your ass. I love the way you treat your athletes. You could treat your staff better. You don't treat Leah very well. She's behind the camera like, no, he doesn't. He does.
She's a woman. It's fine.
Just for clarity, he does. He looks after everyone.
No.
Where's my favorite one? Well, I think this is my favorite one, right? White chocolate, peanut butter cups, which you're always sold out of, which is very disappointing as an athlete.
I have some really bad news for you as well. Like by the time this goes out, it might be a thing. We're actually discontinuing them. So sorry, please don't leave.
Cut the interview. We're done here. Done. Al, take me back. Are you really?
We are. So we've got a couple of, just from feedback from the general, because on white chocolate, it's so hard to procure.
Oh, okay.
Because we use actual Belgian chocolate in our bits, we use whey in them to make them protein cups. We don't add any crazy gimmicks to make our products bad, as you know. All of our powdered supplements, and our capsules are very, very good. I think we'd be hard pressed to be beaten on formulations by anyone in the world, like anyone. Pre-workouts, we can talk about efficaciousness and what's a grey area or not, but the stuff that's our core, like our multivitamin, doing our omega-3 with your EPA and DHA levels that are where they should be, the thing that does the thing, our joint product that's very good, our hydrate, everything we do is done to the highest possible standard we can do, which is really bad because we have no margin in anything we do, but it's good. It's good from a customer's point of view. It is because we care, right? Yeah. We don't have to do loads of fancy marketing. We're just us. We're Combat Fuel. Like our banner up there says like, we are Combat Fuel. Combat Fuel is you. It is me. It is Leah. It's everybody who works for the brand, pushes the brand, the customers. And it's just a community of like-minded individuals, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it is. You've got some real cool people.
Absolutely.
Working with you here.
How do supplements fit into your day-to-day routine then? What do you currently use from us?
So protein, obviously.
Yep.
Amino acids, because I get so bored of just drinking regular water.
Yep.
I like putting them, mixing it all up, the amino acids, and like having ice in it. It's like a bit of a
little cocktail, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I was going to say a Poundland cocktail. I didn't mean that if I get in terms of something, but like I'm not a fancy person, so like an amino acid cocktail is like as fancy as I get. And then the ashwagandha. Yeah, that's great. I love that stuff. Multivit.
Yeah.
The thing about me is, I think my body's adjusted now. But for a bilateral above knee amputee to do anything, for me to walk around every day, it takes me between 300 and 500% more energy than an able-bodied person.
Yeah.
So I have to live like an athlete.
Yeah.
I have to. And I have to supplement like an athlete, even when I'm not doing jiu-jitsu or swimming or any of that, just daily. I've driven up here from Plymouth. I'm going to London after this. I'm going to Marbella after that. I'm coming back. My schedule's rammed.
Yeah.
And busy. I have to be constantly optimized.
Yeah.
So that's where this all works into my life well. I don't overdo it. I've got my own routine, my own favorites that just get me through life. And then if I'm doing an event, I'll up it. And if I'm not, I'll bring it back down.
Love it. Yeah. I've got a couple of questions for you. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
What's the advice aimed at?
Could be anything. Absolutely anything.
So I think I'd say I'd go back to when I was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
And I'd say that life's going to get pretty shit at multiple points, but you can you can do, it sounds corny, you're stronger than you think you are. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to be particularly gifted. You've got this, you do have a gift, and it's like the gift of stubbornness, if you like. Just like
hard work.
Just no matter what's in front of you, like you're not particularly skilled, but you'll just keep going. You're not particularly talented, but you just keep going. Focusing on that. Like, don't worry about all the shit going on around you. Just focusing on your ability to just keep putting one prosthetic foot in front of the other.
Nice. And we're going to ask you a separate question, which was, any advice for somebody, veteran, civilian, that's been through the suck, perhaps doesn't want to be here anymore? What bit of advice would you give to them? What's a reason for them to carry on? That's quite a deep question, isn't it? But you know, you've been there. You said yourself, at one point you were like, I've got to commit suicide. I've got nothing. What's the point?
This is just my opinion, but life isn't supposed to be easy. I can get all philosophical and spiritual on you about, you know, what we're here on the planet for, but my honest belief is that we are here to push ourselves to become the best version of ourselves. And you can't do that if you live an easy life. And human beings, this really pisses me off. Like we forgot what we're capable of. We're like the most adaptable creatures on the planet. And we can do a lot, but we put people on pedestals. We look at like world-class footballers and we're like, oh, I could never be like that. Well, you could if you started when they started, sacrificed what they sacrificed, worked as hard as they worked, had that leg ups that they had. You could do all of that stuff, but we beat ourselves up and go, I'm not capable of that. You know, look what you've built here. There's probably a point where you looked at maybe someone like Al and went, oh my God, that's amazing. I could never do that. And now you're doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, when I started, if I looked at this and I'd be like, nah,
exactly.
No way.
Like it just takes hard work and discipline. And
always just try and live in the now, put one foot in front of the other, as you said.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't fail if you never give up, can you? No,
exactly. But also, like, don't be dumb and not ask for help when you need it. Like, this is a big thing for blokes, right?
Yeah.
And I've never, ever, ever been able to get my head around this. I'm like, well, if I was a kid at school and I couldn't understand a math problem, guess what I do?
Yeah, that's going up asking the teacher,
If I don't know how to change a wheel on my bike when I'm a teenager, what do? I ask for help.
Yeah.
I've always done it, and I've never understood why people struggle with it. Yeah. Like, I'll ask for help for anything. So,
I was going to say, a final touching point, is there any misconceptions that you'd like to address while we have you here? You could perhaps elaborate on that, about blokes not asking for help, or it's a bit, or you're not manly if you ask for help.
I don't, right. It doesn't make any sense. In my mind, if you think about it like this, if something's hard to do, it takes courage to do it, right?
Yeah.
So if asking for help is something you find hard to do, how can you be weak? Yeah. You have to have courage to overcome the thing that you're finding difficult to do. It doesn't make any sense when people go, oh, if you ask for help, you're weak. That melts my brain, how that even people think that way. If it's hard to do, it takes courage to ask for help. So you can't, therefore, be a weak person.
Love it. And thank you very much for coming on, Mark. Like, your story is incredible.
Thank you.
You know, don't want to put you on a pedestal because you said not to, but it is. You know, you're an inspiration to me and to many other guys and girls out there, and to endure and embrace the suck. Where can people find you? And I mean, to be fair, we could just say just Google his name because he'll pop over. But is there any platforms that you push harder than others? Where can people find you, reach out to you, connect with you?
So one of the ways I earn a living now is through social media. I hate it. I can't stand, I don't hate social media. I hate that I have to be on it so much.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, you know, if I can get my Instagram up and all that lot, then it enables me to carry on doing what I do. So if you're on the gram, come find me on there.
Nice. Awesome. Mark, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for making the journey over here.
Let me grab some of those white chocolate things before they get discontinued. Thank you, mate.
Fill it up. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.